Good morning. Let me just turn this down. This is my preview that's running at the moment. Just making sure everything's going all right. A little bit early today. I got a little bit mistaken with the time. I thought the time said 8:29, but it was only 8:25. So I started a little bit on the early side, but never mind. Let me just check. Can I hear myself? Yes, I can. I'm definitely there. Let me just turn the volume down. Wow. All this technology. The wonders of it, I still can't tell the time. So we're still 2 minutes early, so I'm going to maybe a little bit longer of a preamble. So if you want to skip past some of the preamble, please feel free. Well, if you're watching in catch-up mode, if you're watching live, unfortunately you can't. You're stuck with me as I am. So it's been a bit of a busy week. It's been a bit of a warming up week. Yesterday, our temperature, it reached 39 centigrade, which is, I'm just going to tell you what that is in old money. So that's 102 Fahrenheit. At the moment, it's 30 centigrade, and that's 86 Fahrenheit, and that's at 8:30 in the morning. So going to be another bit of a stinker. Let's just quickly look in the comments. So I've got, again, if I ever pronounce the name wrong, tell me, please. I know it's hard to say on text how to pronounce things, but please, I don't like it when I get names wrong. It annoys me terribly when people say my name wrong. Oh, well, they don't really say it wrong, but they spell it wrong all the time. So we've got Prabhu. Good morning from India. Welcome to you. I'm actually doing a first impressions. I'm going to be filming a first impressions tomorrow of an Indian pen, a Canwrite pen. This is my second Canwrite pen. It's another heritage model. So the other one I've got is a heritage. This one it's called, I think it was ebony. It's like a black, like a stealth type pen. So I'm going to be recording my first impressions of that tomorrow. I think, let me just check. I think it actually goes out next weekend. Let me just have a quick look at my forward schedule. Yeah, the actual first impressions will go out on Friday. So that's something I'm planning on doing this week. Alia Rose from snowy, windswept Pennsylvania. I'll tell you something, you wouldn't say that here. It's very warm. Overnight, because it was so warm, it was quite an uncomfortable night. And the lowest it went down to was 28 Celsius, which is, just put that in, 82 Fahrenheit. So warm night, warm start to the day. Jacob from Sweden. I've lost the mouse. Where's the mouse gone? It's here somewhere. There we go. Hi all from Sweden. So that'll be another cold place. I've been watching a guy called Walk with Tim, I think it is, on YouTube. He's been doing some reviews from, I know it's not Sweden. I think it was Norway, but he went to like Santa's Village, and he's reviewed the most northerly hotel in the world. And then he was up in, I think he actually went into the Arctic Circle. Really, really interesting. Blonde Scales 1, hello from soon-to-be frozen Arkansas. Yeah, we've got Will Hodge, welcome from Texas. So Texas, I'm assuming, was that where I saw, I think I saw something on Mastodon earlier on, and they were saying that the temperature's going to drop something like 40 degrees overnight. So it looks like they're heading for a cold snap. We've got James, welcome to you from London. Let me just refresh the chat window. That's right, I can press the right button. We've got John, welcome to you from New York. And BJ, welcome to you. So, I've hopefully killed enough time, so we've gone past the 8:30 mark. And I was a little bit preemptive this morning. I don't know why. My brain just was not working. I thought my watch said 8:29. It didn't say, it was actually 8:25. So I started a little bit on the early side. So I've been putting a lot of padding in. Now, I do have my desk fan running. because I say it's quite warm here. You can see I'm already sweating. But if I don't have the desk fan running, I'd be absolutely soaked by now. If the noise of the desk fan starts coming over the mic, please let me know and I will turn it off. It's just I'll get sweaty. But I've only got it on, well, I've got it on for comfort, but also helps to keep my computers a bit cooler. Right, so let's move on to our first topic. So the first topic today is going to be one of those ones where we look at some of my pens. And this is where it's down to you. So first person in the chat, left or right? So left or right, first person in the chat, please drop that in there, please. So whilst we're waiting for that, James has just popped in a message. I've just received my first Just Turnings pen. It only took 1 week from Australia. I hope you love it as much as I love mine. I think they are so nice pens. You know, they're handmade, very good quality I've found. The guy who makes them, again, is very, very nice. So hopefully, hopefully you'll enjoy that. Let me just refresh the chat. Tom, welcome to you, Tom. Good morning or evening. And then Will has said right. So the right-hand side, now a number between 1 and 10. So anybody, a number between 1 and 10. I'm going to take the first one I see. If that's one we've already done, then I'll take the next one. But I don't think we've done many on the right-hand side. The right-hand side, they're primarily Chinese pens. So a number between 1 and 10. I'm just checking the other chat window I've got running. All this technology here I've got going, I tell you. So the first number we've got, let me refresh this so that it shows up. From Jacob, number 8. So I'm going 8 down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And unfortunately, that's an empty box. So I'll take number 9, which is the next one. Okay, we've got a box now. So these are Chinese pens. These are miscellaneous Chinese pens. So number 9 there. Let's open this up. No, we won't. So the first pen. Here we go. This is... Actually, we will. We'll go to the phone camera, shall we? And get a closer look there. Just move things around a bit. There you are. We've got my desk tray there that you can see. So the first pen. This is by Fully Wen. And this is the Fully Wen 020. He says, just checking. No, it's not. It's a Fully Wen 017. Let me move this out of the way. Then I can actually see the names of the pens as well. There we go. Fully Wen 017. Very bright coloured pen. Very light pen. It's an acrylic pen. The material following all the way through. Beautiful nib. Very nice to write with this nib. It's a fine. Problem with a lot of the Chinese pens is the limited nib sizes. This one is a cartridge converter. I haven't inked this up for a while. I think I may need to get this inked up. I was doing some planning for... It won't be till the middle of the year, I think. But I'm going to do a video comparing my multicoloured pens, so this will definitely be in there. I like writing with this. As I say, the problem is it's a fine pen. It's a nice fit in the hand. Only Fully Wen pen I've got. I've tried looking on their website. They seem to have a lot of different models. I got this from AliExpress. Price-wise, I can't remember. It was 20. I want to say it was 20, either $20 or $30, somewhere around that area. So it's not exactly the cheapest, but yeah, it's definitely unusual. The next one we've got in here, we'll go from this side. This is a Bauer, B-A-O-E-R. Hopefully I pronounced that wrong. Or right, should I say. This is a Bauer 51. So I love the stripes on this pen. Bit of weight to it. It's not exactly a light pen. It was a cheap pen though. It was under $10. Cap pulls off. So we've got a smallish nib. And in here, got a converter. I'll be honest with you. I've only used it once in 2 years. I don't know why, because it's not as if it's not a nice pen. It just visually doesn't grab me. From memory, it wrote okay. Again, Chinese, it's fine nib. But yeah, very nice pen. I don't know why. I need this. This is one of the things I'm finding with a lot of my pens, especially the cheaper ones. I'm only using them 2 or 3 times, and then they get put away. And it's not that I don't like them. I've got so many other ones in that, that same price range. They never seem to come into rotation. I need to do something about that. I'm just not sure what at the moment. Do you have any tips? How do you try and fetch in pens into your rotation that you find that you're like just overlooking? Up next, we've got another Bauer pen. This is the Bauer 79. So this one's got more of a checked pattern. Now, the cap on this one unscrews. Then to post it, it's actually only a small cap. It screws on the end to post. So it posts very well. It does feel very back heavy to me. If I take that off. Unposted, again, it's not too bad lengthwise. Section does feel a bit on the thin side. It's a metallic section. It's a bit slippy as well. It's similar to that 51. I've only really used it the once. And then it's gone into the tray and never really come out again. Which is a shame because, as I say, there's nothing wrong with the pen. And then the last one. This is going to be a quick one. The last one is my Asvine V169. Medium nib. There's a nib on that. The cap obviously is sort of unscrewed. Jumping ahead, let's look at the body first, shall we? So it's got this skeleton type body. This one is in the, I want to say like I think it was called green. It looks like more of a slightly bluey green to me. Vacuum filler. So I'm not sure how well this will come over. So you can pull up, it says twist in the end, pull up the piston. You see the piston here in the body coming up. And then down it goes. Then pop, inside expands, releases that vacuum, and if this would have been in ink, it would have pulled up a whole load of ink into that body. So we've got a nice nib on here. This is a very, very wet nib. I haven't used this one for, I want to say 3 or 4 months. Maybe I need to get this out. Not interested. Not sure what I can get into it. In fact, I'm just going to look at this. I do have another skeleton pen. This is just showing the Asvine against the Jinhao 100 skeleton. We'll see that Jinhao 100 more in a little bit. So they were all the pens that were in this box. So we've got, over here we've got the Fully Wen, then this side we've got those 3. So what this box is, it's for pens where, I've only got 1 or 2, maybe 3 from a particular maker, so it doesn't justify having its own box. I'm not going to go back on the shelf. Let me just pop that away. Go back to the camera. So that was a quick look through one of my boxes. Let's go and look in the comments. Let me just refresh my screen. Don't know what I've done. Airbjörk, the one pen you would pick in case of a house fire. That's a brilliant idea. I'm just going to add that as a future video idea. I'll do that as a completely separate video because I can go into more detail there, and look at some pens and the reasons why I would or wouldn't. But at the moment, the one pen I would pick is this one. This is a Pilot Custom 823. Do you know what the only reason is? It's so damned expensive. That's the only reason I would pick it. It's a nice writer. It's a pen normally inked up all the time anyway, so it's not a pen that I'm saying I don't like, but just because of the cost. But I think that'd be interesting as a video on its own. As I say, I can then go through a number of pens and then give reasons why maybe I would put them in that maybe top 5, but wouldn't take it. Let me go back to the comments. So Parabu had asked for 7, so we've done there. Blonde Scales 1. We've got snow predicted for tomorrow and Monday with at least 2 nights in single digits Fahrenheit. I can't imagine it being that cold. Last time I was really cold, it was actually 13 years ago. We went back to the UK for Christmas, and obviously living in Australia, all our clothes were fairly thin. We didn't have, we didn't have thick coats or anything like that because you don't really need it. So we went back to the UK, and I can remember sitting in my mother's house on Christmas Eve. I had every item of clothing that I had with me was on my body. I was sat under a duvet in the living room next to the radiator, which was on full, and I was so cold. I mean, the high that day was minus 17 Celsius, which is, minus 17, which is 1.4 Fahrenheit. And yes, I know that was an unusual scenario. It normally isn't that cold. We just happened to be there when it was very, very cold. And I said there and then I was never going back to the UK again. I was never going to be that cold again. Blonde scale's 1. Depends on where in Texas he is. Yeah, this was just a general thing that I saw, so I'm not exactly sure where in Texas. It just said, it was some bloke putting a public service warning. Alia Rose, bad storm here too. We had a thunderstorm on Friday. I know it was still hot. We had a thunderstorm Friday night. Beautiful. I was laid in bed with the blinds open, just laid there watching it and hearing the rumbles. I don't know what it is where we live, the suburb we live in. We're ever so lucky. We seem to be in some kind of geographical zone where we don't really get a lot of the rain. It was quite funny, we could be here perfectly dry. We could drive 3 minutes down the road and then we're into the rain. It just seems to skip by this particular suburb. I think it's down to the geography. Oh, well, it's not the geologists are stone, but yeah, just the way that the suburb is. Prabhu, where's that mouse gone? Prabhu Bauer 51 is a great pen. Yeah, I said it's like a lot of the pens. I've got that many. It's like I'm always reaching for things like the Jinhao 100. This is the skeleton version. I should really reach for them more because I do, in my rotations, I do try to have a good range of prices. Back to peppermint tea today in the Marvel mug. So I do like to... So my pens in use, what I try to do there, the first 3 pens each month are under 100 Aussie dollars. The second 3, they're over 100. So I like to have a nice price range. And yeah, the Bauer, I need to force myself to use these a bit more often. Tom Morley, sort of based on a Faber-Castell. Yeah, I don't have any Faber-Castells. It's like everything. I do intend to get some, but so far I haven't really got around to that. Lost the mouse again. Let's just move this to the next one. Jacob. Getting warmer here in Stockholm. Only around -5 Celsius today. Yeah, again, I can't really... I know when we lived in the UK, -5 was something we often got. Can't imagine that being that cold anymore. We were talking yesterday, because yesterday was, as I said, was very, very hot. And, we were talking with the wife, very unusual. That's to actually have a discussion with the wife. And we were saying, like in the UK, when it's cold, you wrap up, you can put more layers on, you can turn the heating on. Whereas here, it's once you get hot, or the heat, there's nothing you can do. There's only so many layers you can take off. You can't exactly go walking around with no clothes on. So, yeah, it's hard because you can't get away from the heat, whereas at least with the cold, you can do something about it. Ricardo, sorry. Good morning. Welcome to you. Tom, based on the Mont Blanc Starfighter. Oh, wow, that's a brilliant name, a Starfighter. Was it? There's another one. Again, I think it might be Mont Blanc. Is it the Star Walker? I keep wanting to call it a Skywalker, as in from Star Wars. Jacob, I like the skeleton pen, but not the vacuum system of it. Yeah, I actually don't mind the vacuum. It takes quite a lot. I think it was it last week or the week before where the first impressions came out of the Asvine P20. So again, another Asvine pen. This time it's a piston filler. So that's not got into my rotation yet. It might do in the next week, next couple of months. Nice pen. Really enjoying the Asvine pens. I was looking at doing an AliExpress order. Well, I did an AliExpress order during the week, and somehow a pen snuck in there. So I've got a Hondian pen coming. What I'm trying to do now is whenever I do an AliExpress order, I'm ordering one of the pens, $20, $30, $40, something like that. And I was looking at possibly getting another Asvine, but then I went for this Hondian because I thought the Hondian one looked really nice. So I'll show that in more detail when it comes. Will Hodge, I've acquired 4 Jinhao 9019s and 5 Jinhao 8159. Love the number 8 nibs. I've got one of each, and yeah, I do really like them. I watched during the week, is it SBR Brown? He did a first impressions of a 9019, and he was unlucky. He got one with what looked like a really, well, the best way to put it, a really crap nib. I've been lucky with the ones I've got, had no issues with them. I may, on both of them, when I next fill them up, I may put a shim through the tines just to open the tines a teeny wee bit more. I'd like them to be a little bit wetter. But yeah, really like mine. I love the size. They're so comfortable in the hand. Having bigger hands, I do like the bigger pens. So that's certainly coming up. Blonde Scales 1 finally managed to empty 4 of my pens. Isn't that a really good feeling? Although the problem is, let me just move that mic. It was in the way of my face a bit. The problem is when you clean out a pen, it's cleaning it out, isn't it? Can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And then it's that temptation to put some more ink in it as well. Alia Rose, somewhat off topic. Last night I accidentally at last found my first fountain pen, a drugstore A&W Swizzle Stick Silver Meteor finish from West Germany. After much cleaning, it still writes. That sounds awesome. Do you know, I wish YouTube would let you share things like photos in the comments or in the community. It'll let me put a photo on, but in a reply to even a community post, you can't put photos. I'd love for that to be able to do that, because then we can show photos of things like this where we get these pens that we come out. I think that would be awesome. I know that you can put them upon. There's various fountain pen pages on Facebook, or is it the Pen Addict Slack channels, some Discords. Problem with that, you then go in different places, and it fragments that conversation. It would be nice to be able to do that all on YouTube, wouldn't it? Maybe eventually YouTube might do something like that for us. That would be nice. Will Hodge, do you utilise air conditioning or swamp coolers? So we do have air conditioning throughout the house, but I'll be honest, it's expensive to run. Whenever we run it, our electricity use goes like that. Our water use goes up like that. So we do run it, very nearly yesterday it got turned on. Usually we leave it for days which are over 40. If it hits 40, we'll turn it on. What we have got all the way around the house, we've got these desk fans, fans. I've got a desk fan in here. We've got pedestal fans in most of the rooms. And when they're running, they're usually just moving that air around a bit, keeps it cool enough that we don't really need to have the aircon on. Temperature yesterday in the house was 30 Celsius, which is about, it's actually what it is now, which is, he says, let's go pull up that right window. So that's 86 Fahrenheit. a bit warm but livable. So yeah, we do have the aircon. It's just Garry, being a tight ass, doesn't like to put it on. Blonde scales 1, single digits is very unusual for my area. It's one of the things. I think America's a bit like a bit like Australia. People don't realise just how big it is. And once you start seeing how big it is, then you can see where these differences come in. And then I think, is it to do with the Gulf Stream, which was what keeps the UK and Western Europe a bit warmer, because there's a Gulf Stream coming up through the Atlantic, which is carrying warm water, which does mitigate some of the issues. But I think from memory, with America, you don't have that Gulf Stream, so that's why it can be colder over in the States. It's really pushing on my knowledge of geography and meteorology there. Tom Morley, Oops a Skywalker. Yeah, this is the problem with pen names, isn't it? They can be so similar. Jacob, everybody, the first fountain pen of yours. My very first fountain pen, I know it was a Parker. I don't have it because it was from when I was at school, so we're talking about 44 years ago, something like that, when I went to senior school. It was a Parker. It would have been something like a Parker Jota or not a Sonnet. There's another one, Parker Frontier, something like that. I just know it was a Parker. And I was bought from W.H. Smith's. I can tell you exactly where it was bought from. I do remember that. W.H. Smith's in Scarborough. Blue ink cartridges. Really, really stretching my head there, though. Jacob, mine was a Lamy CP1. And even before fountain pens, I used a Rotring Rapidograph. I've been seeing a number of reviews, over the last couple of years, about is it the Rotring Core? It's another one on my list that I want to eventually get. It looks quite an unusual pen. Ricardo, his was the Parker 45. Do you, BJ, do you guys, Shills, think the Marchon 800 is worth the money, or just pick up multiple other Chinese pens to try? Okay, so I will be fetching these out more in a second. I love the Marchon M800, one of my favourite Chinese pens. Also, to be honest, one of the first Chinese pens I bought, which was actually this. This was the amber version. I've got all 4 colours, so I've actually got in my hand here the green and the amber version. I do also have the purple and the blue. Let me put that one away because that's got ink in it. The green one, I'll just give you a quick show. Looks beautiful. Yes, I know it's a clone or very heavily inspired by the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. Nibs, this has actually got a Goulet nib on it. Number 6 nibs, dead easy to change. When I bought them, I bought 2 with the Marchon nib. I bought 2 with the Bock nib. I've got a video where I go into more detail the differences between the two. But to be honest, the Bock is nice. It was about $10 more. But the Moonman, again, just as nice. And this was one which had a Moonman nib. Dead easy to change, so I just put in a Goulet nib. I've got a broad nib now in this. So from my point of view, I absolutely love the M800s, one of my favourite Chinese pens. But saying that, I love all my other Chinese pens. You know, for the price of one M800, you could get 2 Jinhao 100s. You could get, don't have any other ones in there. You could get, I think maybe 2 Kaigaloo 316. You could get loads of X159s. Or you can get a number of 9019s and X159s. Very hard to advise what's the best way to go with that. Let me go back to the comments. Blonde Scales 1. First one was an M&G. Don't remember which other ones I have it was. And then Teresa. Which Hondian did you order? Have you seen the N24? I ordered it and watched Pen Therapy's video on it. And his has a crack in the cap. Not an encouraging way to start with a new design. Let me just pull it up and I'll pull up the actual page. I can give you a quick look at it. I'm just pulling up on Safari at the moment. My orders. So the one I ordered, let me just pull up the picture of the one that I actually ordered. And then screen. So here we go. It was the A3. It's like a silver with stripes on it, and then I went for the silver coloured trim. The reason why I ordered it is actually more for the nib. So it's a long knife nib, 0.45 to 0.6. So rather than being like a standard fine nib, I thought, well, it's a slightly different nib, so it's worth trying out. So I said, this is ordered. You know, it might take 2 or 3 weeks to arrive, and then I've got to schedule it all into my first impressions lineup and move everything around. But yeah, I thought it looked different. Let me just close these down, close down this window, and then back to the comments. Blonde Scales 1, you can always add layers. Once you hit skin, you're screwed. Absolutely. It was just, we were just saying yesterday, because it was here, we were sat, it was here, it was 39 Celsius, talking to my daughter in the UK, and it was 5. Teresa Jacob, it was an Estabrook Camden Northern Lights in Manitoba Blue. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Air Björk, mine was a Twisby Eco. Alia Rose, the N24 looks quite unwieldy. Yeah, I did look at a number of other pens. Why I went for that one, to be honest, I say it was more the blade. The rest of them, the only nib choices was extra fine or fine. Didn't want any of those. Teresa, yes, it does. It was the nib that made me want to get it, plus the wood in the construction. Yeah, I'm getting quite into wooden pens. You may have noticed the one that I did my first impressions on the other day. Wow, that's a beauty of a pen. I'll be fetching it out shortly for you to have another look at. Well, with all the hurricanes come from the Atlantic and feed into the Gulf of Mexico, some pop up in the tropics as well. Yeah, I've actually got a video over on Tricky Little Questions, which actually talks about how hurricanes form and why they're only in certain areas. I think it was about a year ago. Again, it was at the time. It was interesting. I think it still is interesting. Alia Rose to Teresa, report back on your findings. I do love a good Hondian. Gary's mouth stopped working. I do love a good Hondian. Donna, never worry about being late, Donna. Welcome back. Welcome to you. And we got hi, and we got a hi. Will, look into the Noodler's Ahab. Large ink capacity, takes any number 6 nib, and has an ebonite feed so you can heat set it, and it digests shimmer ink well. $26 US. That's not a bad price. Yeah, I've got the Ahab, and is it the Conrad? I think are both on my to buy list. Just haven't got around to buying any of them yet. I really need to look at that. Let me make a note. Noodlers. I think it's Miss Marilyn Darling uses quite a lot of the Noodlers Ahabs. Alia Rose, I've heard that Ahab has a unique aroma. Yeah, I've heard the same. Have I got it handy? No, I haven't. My Ranga Model 5, which I've had like 2 years, still smells. Air Björk, it smells wonderful. Wool Hodge, yes, they are made of a biodegradable vegetal resin. They air out nicely in a few days in the open. I say with my Ranga Model 5, made with a similar resin, even after 2 years, it still smells. It's still something I notice. BJ, I put my noodlers in coffee. Gets rid of the smell quickly if you don't like it. Noodlers are definitely a tinkerer's pen, though. That's I was just thinking, in coffee, that'd be quite an interesting experiment to try. You know, soaking a pen in coffee. Teresa will do. BJ, oh, dry coffee grounds, not. I was thinking hot coffee. You know, making a cup of coffee and then pouring it maybe into a tub, and then what I do. I do like my over here I call it, well, from the UK we call it a cafetiere. Is it a French press they call it in the States, where it's a jug, you put your coffee grounds in, pour in hot water, then you've got a plunger that you put on top and slowly press it down. That compresses the grounds down to the bottom, so you can then pour the coffee out. So the grounds with that, what we do there, I actually put it into a tub when I'm finished, and then the grounds we dig in around the stems of a lot of our plants. So, you know, obviously not every day. Once a week, I think my wife does it. It's the wife that does it. I absolutely hate gardening. If it was down to me, we'd just have concrete out the back. There'd be none of this weeds that we've got. But anyway, she puts them on there, and it's a really good fertilizer. It's full of, I believe, nitrogen, phosphorus, and there was another one which I read about. But it's really, really good as a fertilizer. And you know, you put it around the bottom of the plants. And it also seems to keep the dog away from them as well, which is an added bonus. Let me just see, are there any more comments? John, does your Retro 51 Tornado anti... I've actually got that handy, he says. Where the... here it is. So here we are. No, I'm smelling a pen. Can't smell anything. Doesn't even have a metallic taste. I've just put my tongue on it there. So no, I haven't really noticed that. You'll see more of the Retro 51 this afternoon because it's in this afternoon's video. Blonde Scales 1, I ordered myself the mystery dip pen from Goldspot. Curious to see what the pen will be. Yeah, I've been interested. I watched the Goldspot videos, and they keep talking about them. That'd be interesting. You know, it's in a way it's nice because you get that something maybe that you wouldn't have bought. Jacob, is it possible to use coffee as ink? Was it Wasty Squirrel did an experiment using trying out different things in pens to see if they would write? And I think a few years ago there was a young kid, and I've been very patronising there saying young kid. He doesn't seem to make videos anymore. He was based over in Sydney. I can't remember his name. It was. I think it was the initials of his name, of his full name. And I think he did something similar. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so, but you know, maybe it's worth trying. Will Hodge, good idea, BJ. That's about the coffee grounds. Alia Rose, potassium. Yeah, potassium. I knew there was something else in there. Alia Rose, NPK. Airbjörk, don't think the coffee would taste good after. Yeah, definitely. Alia Rose, I'm a gardener by profession. Awesome. Yeah, I say we just found it something. It was something I heard years and years ago, and that's why we started doing it. And it seems to work. Let's do one last refresh of these. Okay. So we'll move on over to the phone camera. I'll fetch this notepad back in. This is where you can see. Well, you can't see it. What happened there? Paper's blowing a little bit in the fan. So, pens for the week ending 13th of January. There we go. First pen. This is the one I've been using all week for my snarky or my thoughts on my daily YouTube shorts. This is the Platypus Model 10. 3D printed pen. Almost out of ink, so after today's video, this will be getting washed out. So we've got here a Platypus. Model 10. So this is an Aussie pen. Broad Yoho nib. The price, 170 Aussie dollars. The ink by Diamine. And it's Sugar Snap. Now, one thing I have noticed, past really 6 days, the shimmer that is in this ink, doesn't matter how much I've been agitating, it hasn't been coming out. So whether maybe I've used it all up, I don't know. Can you use it all up? You know, because it's been sat, maybe the first few days used more of that shimmer, but the rest of the week, as you can see here, hopefully, you know, there's absolutely no shimmer coming out. So that goes in my clean out pot. The next pen, this is actually empty, it's been cleaned out already. This is a Jinhao 100. This is in the Meteorite. We've got on here a cursive italic nib. So it's got a different nib. The ink that I'd had in here was not listed. But anyway, it ran out of ink. So I've cleaned this one out. That'll go to the side now to be put away. But in its place, I did fetch another Jinhao 100. This is the skeleton one that I brought out earlier. This is in extra fine. There's a nib there. Converter in here is different than the other Jinhao 100 converter. And there's very, very little ink in here. So much, I don't know if it'll write. It's an extra fine nib, so we've got here, yeah, a Jinhao. Let me just try. Nah, not going to work. Didn't think it would. So I'm going to clean this one out today. The ink in here was Robert Oster Rubin, and it was the end of a sample. I enjoy these Jinhao 100s. I'm partly tempted to fill it up, but I'm going to be recording my next pens in use selection a week on Monday. So I'd only get one more use out of this before then. So what I'm going to do is actually leave it and clean it out, you know, with the aim to try and finish off all the other pens. So that's another one gone into the cleaning cup. I've got this here. This is my cleaning cup. This is from a project I worked on about, 13, 14 years ago. And at the end of it, it was a massive project. They gave everybody who was on it at the time a mug. And it's been sat in the cupboard, and I thought, well, that'd be ideal. You know, it's a bit of a memory trip, and also it comes in handy now for putting pens to clean. Next up, we've got the Pens by Casey. This is Mokuzai, and it's 13. 13 being the number of millimeters. Beautiful pen. This is a wooden pen, handmade by Casey, and the pen is Northern York Burl Gum, which is a eucalypt tree, and they actually grow it's about half an hour's drive from here is where we can actually see them. So it's a local pen. You know, there's a whole story to it, which is in the first impressions video, which is what came out on Tuesday. So we've got a Pens by Casey. A Mokuzai 13. It's got a 1.1, I was going to say broad, it's a 1.1 Yoho nib. Now, the pens vary in price depending what you want. He makes them to order. This one, not a cheap pen, 400 Aussie dollars. It's wood, it's ebonite, it's handcrafted. You can pick, he shows you all the blanks he's got, so you can pick the blank that you want. Absolutely gorgeous pen, looks very nice to write with. The ink, it's by Robert Oster, and it's Aussie Brown. This ink goes so well with this pen. Got some shading coming through in the ink. We've got the different colours there in the wood. Really nice, beautiful pen. Today's pen, and also the pen from Wednesday, this is the Hongdian N8. This is Flying Feathers. A little bit of ink in there. I'll say this is today's pen. I'm guessing after today, this will be ready to be cleaned out. The ink in here, nice red ink. Beautiful with these white pens. You can use any ink you want, can't you? So we've got Hongdian. N8. It's got a medium nib, very, very smooth nib. Price wise, 41 Aussie dollars. So you can have 10 of these for the price of that Casey one. The ink, Robert Oster, Rubine. No, it isn't. It's Royal Red. Yeah, Royal Red. Glorious ink, glorious colour. I say I could get 10 of these for the price of that Casey. If somebody said to me, Gary, you got $400 to spend on pens, I'd buy one of them Casey pens. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. You know, I'd get a different wood, obviously. Sorry, nose is running away. So that was Hondian N8. Next up, this one's got no ink in it. I've cleaned it out. This is the Moon Man or Mahjong M800. So, cartridge converter. There we go. This one, as I say, it's got a Goulet broad nib on it. We're not going to look at that one though. What we're going to do is look at this one. This is the amber version. So I filled this a couple of days ago because when that Moon Man, the other one ran out, I thought, you know, it'd be nice to still have one in the rotation. Plus, I'm going to be filming a video in 2 or 3 weeks' time looking at my favourite brown pens. So this will definitely be in there. So I thought, yeah, get this out. Good chance to write with it. So we've got the Mahjong M800. This has got a fine, but this is the bottle nib. Price wise, we're looking about 66 Aussie dollars. The ink in here is by Lamy. It's part of the Crystal series, and it's Topaz. Nice brown ink, this. This is the last of a sample that I've got. Not sure if it's a good enough match, but I thought it's still nice enough to try. Let's move the pad up a bit. Next up, Opus 88 Coloro. So the blue, that's ebonite, and then the resin, that's like a tealy colour. Japanese eyedropper. Piston's open. I always leave this piston open when I'm at home. I believe the nib's made from by Yoho. Made in Taiwan. So this is an Opus 88 Coloro. Broad nib. Beautiful nib. Very, very nice nib to write with. 146 Aussie dollars. The ink, Robert Oster. Tranquility. Beautiful ink this. I really do like this ink. Loads of shading coming through as well. Next pen. This is the Pelikan M205. Bit of a small pen. You know, it's the smallest they make in this M series. 205, so it's got the silver coloured trim. This is a pen I have to use posted. It's just about the right length there, but I just find it just that teeny bit too small, but posted, very nice. Section does feel a little bit on the small side, but get away with that. The nib is what makes this pen though. This is absolutely glorious. This is a steel nibbed pen. It's a broad nib. 199 Aussie dollars, not a cheap pen. The ink by Pure Pens, which is a Welsh company, and it's Celtic or Celtic Sea. And I always want to call it Celtic. I believe it should be Celtic. Obviously, Pure Pens Welsh company. You know, they're very Celtish tradition. But where I grew up, there was a lot of Scottish people, and they all supported Celtic. And that's why I come to associate that word with Celtic. A small pen. I do like this. This is the, I think called Blue Marble. Nice pen. Then the final pen. This is that Pilot Custom 823. Not a lot of ink left in here. I'm recording this week. I'm going to record a fountain pen focus with this. Not a focus, sorry, a showdown. So hopefully I've got enough ink in here. Then I'll give it a clean out. And I'm going to give this a rest for maybe a month. Although saying that, chances are it might be inked up next week as well. This is a Pilot. I do love this pen. Custom 823. 14 carat broad nib. Number 15 size Pilot nib. Which is roughly very similar to a number 6 size nib. Not a cheap pen. 521 Aussie dollars when I last priced it up. The ink, Dominant Industry. Lungo. Beautiful, nice brown ink. I think it's one of my favourite browns for this pen. So that's a Pilot Custom 823. Head on back to the camera. And we'll go back to the comments. Let me get this mic positioned right. Quick mouthful of coffee, or well, tea, and then refresh. Prabhu, are you talking about JPL? That's the guy, JPL. He used to make great fountain pen videos. Shame he doesn't upload anymore. Yeah, I used to love watching his videos. As I say, I know it sounds a bit patronising. He was a young kid, but the way he came at them was really interesting because obviously comes at it with a different point of view of an old fart like me. Which was quite interesting. Blonde Scales 1. Not a coffee drinker, as I don't know. Not a coffee drinker, so I don't know. Yeah, I say it was just something that... I think the same with tea leaves as well. I think they can do the same with tea leaves. Blonde Scales 1. The paper, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The paper is blowing in the wind. It absolutely is. I say I could turn the fan off. It's just very, very hot. Air Björk, no people paint with coffee, so it should work with the fountain pen. Don't think the quality would be great though. I wonder if, it's not something. I'm gonna make a note. Use coffee as ink. I've made a note. It might be something worth looking at. I like to do like an April Foolsy type video, so it might be one worth trying. Something different to do on April Fool's Day. James, JPL does still make videos, but not on fountain pens. His channel is called Artisan Maker, and it's all tooling workshop stuff. Just making a note of that. Might be worth just checking out, because I used to enjoy his videos. There are people that use coffee to dye paper too. I remember at school, one of the things we had to do at school was to make some paper look like it was from the 1700s, 1800s. And there, yeah, you made coffee and you like painted it on the paper and then left it to dry, and you put thicker areas, and so you got like different colours. So it gave it like that antique look. I do remember doing that. Again, I'm going back to school there. Good variety in your stable. All nice pens. I endorse supporting your local pen turners. Yeah, absolutely. So last year my focus was on Australian fountain pens. So I got a number of pens last year. This year, going to spread my wings a little bit. But I still intend to buy, 2, 3, maybe even 4 pens from Australian makers. So this is where, and I'm going to start do my little advert. So obviously I've got ads turned on the channel. I've got my membership, so if you're able to support by membership, it'd be very much appreciated. We have the super stickers, the super chats and stuff like that, which again people can do essentially a donation via these. So all this goes into the YouTube pot, and then YouTube, at the moment it's monthly, I get a YouTube payment, and everything I get from YouTube goes into buying stuff for the channel. I've got currently a little bit banked up, and I'm going to get myself a Lamy 2000 with it. This is what I'm saying, I'm spreading my wings a bit this year. So that's one thing I'm looking at getting. Hopefully that might be this month or next. Then the next one I'm going to save up for is, I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do. I may look at another pen by that pen bloke. So at the moment, where is it? I've only got the one pen, which is this one. But I've found another Australian maker that I don't have any pens from, so I may actually approach him next about getting a pen. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there next, but yeah, I'm hopefully going to get another 2 or 3. Airbjörk, wonder how the light fastness is on coffee. Yeah. Will Hodge, I've heard people use tea to give paper an antique look. Yeah, so I said going back to when I was at school, we used coffee. BJ, I've used tea and coffee to imitate age in paper, but I've never put it through a fountain pen. Quite a few people then must have been doing that same experiment. Ricardo, talking about Pilot, has anyone used their posting nib or the Waverley nib? I'm looking at these and other unusual nibs. I haven't. The only Pilot nibs I've got the broad on my 823. I've got my medium on my Pilot Custom Heritage 92. Then obviously I've got the E95S. The one nib I would like to try is not from, although it's from Sailor, is I want to try a music nib on a Sailor pen. Again, maybe later on this year, might be next year, because I'm going to have to save for that. Again, coming back, that's where the YouTube advertising money, the membership money, all comes in handy. It allows me to get these pens to then present on the channel, and as you see, I fetch them out quite often. Let's refresh. So that was the last comment at the moment. So I'll leave a few seconds, any more comments. So whilst we're doing that, let's look at the video. Oh, well, not look. I should actually come up with a little slide for these, shouldn't I? There's a slide for weekly videos, etc. I'll have a think about that. So last week's videos, last Sunday, we had the first impressions of this Pens by Casey pen. Absolutely beautiful. I know I keep saying this. It's a beautiful pen. So nice. Tuesday, we had my top 5 green pens. Well, I'm saying my top 5. There were 5 for my green pens. I got loads. I will actually do another green pen video later in the year. What I'm planning on doing is now... I can't remember when I said it's either going to be the first or second Tuesday of each month. I'm going to do a top 5 pens video. So the first few I'm going to be focusing on colours. So like a top 5, like the next one's top 5 brown. Then I might do a top 5 blue, top 5 red. I'm going to do 5 demonstrator pens, 5 vacuum filling pens, 5, so they'll be focused around looking through and coming up with 5 pens in each slot. Plus, I enjoy doing them. They get me. I like to play with the pens before I make the video, so it gives me a chance to have it to get out. Friday's video, that was my halftime report, so that's how I've been getting on so far with the 6 pens that I started this month with. Yesterday, on Tricky Little Questions and Next Actions and on the main channel, I put out a video looking at my 2024 theme. This is my theme for the year, what I'm going to use as my guiding principle. My theme this year, I'm calling it the year of why. And it's all about asking why to every single thing. Not just new things coming in, but also existing things. So an example, I'm going to be making this into a video on its own right. The software that I use for my action management system is called OmniFocus. And I've been using it for over 15 years. They came out with a brand new version, I think it was just about Christmas time. Part of my year of why is I was saying, well, why do I want to upgrade? Normally whenever they came out with a new version, it was an instant buy. But I asked myself, well, why do I want to upgrade? Why do I use this? Why do I use an action management system? What do I need from it? How am I working? How have I changed the way I'm working from 15 years ago? And obviously I went through this for a few days, going really deep into it. And what I found out is, well, I don't actually need to use OmniFocus. I do need an electronic system. I do have a lot going on. But what I've found is, by researching this, Apple Reminders, which is a free app with all the Apple devices I've got, syncs between devices with a little bit of adventurous thinking, does exactly what I want. Why am I not using it? So I've actually spent the last couple of weeks migrating to using Apple Reminders and finding it's just as good and it does what I want. I say I will make a full detailed video on it, but this is the idea about the year of why, is questioning why I'm doing things with the idea of not necessarily stopping doing things, but maybe improving, maybe changing, maybe leaving it the same, but still thinking about to make sure that what I'm doing is useful. So yeah, that was yesterday's video. Today we've got heat number 1 of the tournament. So the actual video was released to members on Friday. The voting will not turn on until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So there will be a poll over on the YouTube community page where you can vote for the winning pen. So the idea is I present 2 pens. It goes over, then you can then choose which of the 2 pens you want to win. The winning pen then goes forward into the semi-final. On Tuesday, I'll be looking at my inked pens. So these are the pens that aren't in my daily rotation, but I've got inked up. As I said earlier, Friday, that will be my first impressions of the Canwright Heritage in ebony. I'm actually recording that one tomorrow. Saturday, over on Tricky Little Questions, is a true or false quiz, so 10 true or false questions. And then Sunday, here we've got heat number 2 of my fountain pen tournament. My book of the week, so I've been continuing on with Chainfire by Terry Goodkind. I don't know why I've written Terry Goodchild in my notes, but it's for Terry Goodkind. About halfway through, it's actually quite a different story than a lot of his other ones. I'm really enjoying it. Quite into this particular story. I think it's really grabbed me. But saying that, all the books until now have been a reread. From this book onwards, they're all books I haven't even read for the first time. So it could be I struggled a bit with the previous books because with already reading them, and yes, it may have been several years ago, so I still had rough memories of them. Whereas now I'm into brand new territory. So that's quite interesting. I'll just go back to the comments. James highly recommends the Sailor Music nibs. I've got several, and perhaps my favourite. I will be honest, my Sailor I've got at the moment, which is a Pro Gear Slim, which isn't handy. That's got a broad nib. Yeah, I keep looking at the music nibs, but it's then trying to find what pen to get on. I'm thinking of getting on a normal Pro Gear size, but they're not cheap, so I say I need to save up for that. Tom, I really like the Waverley nib. Are they the ones that are a bit like the architecty type nibs? I'm just trying to remember now. Will, does the Casey pen have an ebonite grip section? Yep, there it is. There's the grip. So that's ebonite as well. And the pen, I know it's hard to show on a camera. So there's the inside of that. It's all fully lined with an ebonite liner. There we go. So I don't have to worry about things like ink leakages. Would love to see your top 5 metal pens. Top 5 metal pens. Okay, I've made a note of that. Abe Yerk, use coffee as a fountain pen. Why? Well, I think it's just a nice experiment for me. I like playing around with stuff. I like trying something. And I say I do like an April Fool's video each year, so that's where I'm thinking it might be a good one to do, April Fool's type 1, bit of a stupid video. Ricardo, thanks to Tom Morley. Jacob, very similar comment there, why not? Again, comes back to my year of why. One of the things I have to ask with every video, why am I doing this video? What do I want to achieve from it? And, even with a fun video, the answer to the why could be, well, I want to do it for a laugh. No problems about that. Jacob, Pilot parallel nibs are nice for calligraphy. Yeah, I think they're in here. Are they in here? I've got one in here. I've got a number of other parallel pens. I use this as a dip if I want to try out a wider line. Wool Hodge, lovely. No worries about the nib drying out. Beautiful pen. Plus has a coal factor. Yeah, it is so nice. I mean, can't recommend him highly enough. The pens that he makes are just so gorgeous. I say they're not the cheapest out there, but they're worth it. Really are. Ricardo, Waverley similar to an upturned nib like some Schaefer. And then Tom, slight upturn at the end of the nib, not like a Fude, makes various directions smoother. It might be worth looking into that. Waverley nib Pilot. Wool Hodge, cool. James, I think he would also like the Sailor Zoom nib. I recently got a 21k zoom, so it's broad and wet. Yeah, I've looked at the zoom as well. It's all down to cost, and that's why I thought, well, let's go for the music first. See how I get on with that. Teresa, my New Moon 2 arrived today. I hoped it would have the Fude nib that everyone got, but when the pen originally came out, but it looked like a very small, fine nib. The resins are nice though. Yeah, mine's got that fine nib. It writes nice. It's not a bad nib. Oh, certainly mine is not a bad nib. Oh, my hair's a mess. I've just noticed that. I should start wearing a beanie, then no one has to see my hair that way. Trouble is, in this weather, if I wore a beanie, I think I'd melt. The New Moon 2, nice pen, bit small. Writes lovely though. Miss Marilyn Darling, welcome to you. Unfortunately, we're virtually at the end. But welcome to you. Thanks for joining in. Ed Björk, have you looked at a Kakamori dip pen? I haven't. I've got to be honest, apart from my Serendipity dip pen, which is this one. This is what I use in my ink test videos. To be honest, it's the only time I use it. I don't really use a dip pen. It's not really something that's really attracted me, which maybe it's something I need to try. Miss Marilyn Darling, sorry I'm late. I was eating dinner and did the washing up. Now, never apologise. You're here. That's all that matters. We're just really in the wrap up now. So I'm just going through the comments one last time. Have we got any more appeared? James, I watched every day of your ink vent this year and really enjoyed your daily videos. Does your wife buy your 24, 25 presents throughout the year? Absolutely, she does. She's already told me she's got about 7, I think it is, for next year. So I know things like over here where you can see like the little ornaments. So we've got. I'm just going to try and grab one. These are. I keep these in the box. They're actually Christmas tree ornaments. She buys them this year, now, or in the sales after Christmas, any that were left. Just put it back. She buys them and then she puts them away for next year. So I know she's got a number already. I know where they are, but I'm very good. I don't go and look. And things like pens. Sorry, going to have to swap over to my juice jug. This is R2D2. Sorry about that. Just need a quick bit of water. Yeah, so like pens, we did an AliExpress order during the week, so I know roughly what the pens are that she's getting me, because what we do is we order them throughout the year. So we ordered 2 pens when we did the order. Again, when they come, I won't actually look at them. I'm very good at that. They go straight to Elaine. But I have a rough idea what's coming. Ricardo, the Sailor Zoom nib is on my list for this year. Yeah, this is there's so many pens I'd like. So many pens, so little money. Miss Marilyn Darling, yeah, better okay, better. That's okay, better late than never. Will any consideration of the Marjon pen retractable nib Boheme copy? So the only Marjon retractable I've got is the A1, and to say I'm not impressed is a bit of an understatement. Let me get it for you. Oh, it's already out somewhere. So here's the A1. I don't know if you can see there. I've only inked it once, and the little like trap door at the bottom that's meant to close is bust. So it's still retractable part works. Even though that's broken, the nib doesn't seem to dry out. It's an extra fine nib, not my favourite nib anyway. It's a pen that to me, it shouldn't get a problem like that the first time you use it. Because of buying them from AliExpress, not really worth the hassle sending them back. Yeah, disappointed with it. It is a nice writing pen, I will give it that though. Message retracted, let me refresh. We've got hi Will Hodge, Hola MMD. I wish pensive pens, I wish he had continued making them. I was so close to saving up for the titanium one. Yeah, so somebody did ask me during the week about the Serendipity dip pens. You can't get them anymore, unfortunately. The guy that makes it, I want to say James Fenris. I might be wrong though with the name. He stopped making them actually just last year. I believe he'd had like some illness for quite a long time, and I think it was just getting too much for him. Which was a shame because they're nice pens, they're unusual pens. BJ, you might get a kick out of this. I used the coffee/tea paper agent trick to make a copy of the Indiana Jones journal from the movie when I was younger. It was actually a lot of fun. Awesome idea. I wonder if Hemingway Jones has done anything like that. Because I know part of the way he built his name up was, I think from what he was saying, he liked the Indiana Jones films. Last weekend, I actually watched the latest one, The Dial of Destiny, on because it's on Disney Plus now. I've got to be honest, I wasn't impressed. I think Harrison Ford's just too old. I think what would have been better, and I think would have been maybe more interesting, is to have an old Harrison Ford, talking like as a narrator. But then have a different actor playing a younger Indiana Jones and telling a story like that. I think that would have been a lot better. I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. I'm glad I watched it, but yeah, not overly impressed. Björk, had to make myself a coffee. Don't know why. I know all this chat about coffee. Santa, hi everybody. Hi to you, Santa. Ricardo, too many pens, too many nibs. I would like 16 Pilot Custom 742s. That's how many different nibs they make for it. Was it Mike Matheson, where they sent him all of them to like as a loan? That would have been interesting. Pilot, if you want to do that with me, I won't say no. I doubt anyone from Pilot is watching this, but I wouldn't say no. I don't mind loaning pens to try them all out. I think that would be awesome. Miss Marilyn Darling, James Finnis, yeah, I thought it was. Hi, Dean from South Australia. Welcome to you, Dean. So Adelaide, I went to Adelaide about 15 years ago. Adelaide, we stayed in the, what was the name of the, it's where Penfolds is. There's a little village there. We stayed in an old, I think, maybe a farmer's cottage, so it was quite an old cottage. Absolutely loved it, very nice. I think it was the Barossa Valley, might be wrong there. I know we went to Penfolds and I bought there a bottle of Penfolds Grange. We also went to Yulumba. Yulumba's another winemaker. They have a variety of grape there which they make called Viognier, Viognier. Very delicate flavour. One of my favourite wines is Viognier, and the Yolumba one is quite reasonably priced. I think I've got a bottle of that. I might actually get that out to have with dinner tonight. That's got me thinking. Teresa, too much CGI in the Dial of Destiny. Yeah, I think it's a shame because the idea of the story was quite nice. But I think, if you'd have had an old Harrison Ford narrating it, maybe a bit like, what's that film? Is it The Princess Bride? Where you had the guy, Peter Falk, like reading the story to his grandson, who was sick in bed. If you had it something like that, I think that would have been a lot better. Any more things? Will Hodge, my goal for 2024 is to use up those damn ink sample bottles I have down to about 30. Now I've got the exact same goal. So now, again, part of my year of why, when I'm going to ink up a pen, the first thing I do is pull out this. This is my ink samples. As you can see, I've only got these two now. It was 3 months ago, it was all that was full. Now I've just got these two. So every time I ink up a pen now, my first thing is, which of the ink samples can I use? The idea is get them used up. Once they're used up, I'm then going to move on to the ink vent inks. The small bottles to use them up. Certain other pens I am using other inks for, but yeah, the first question is, why not use a sample? Anguston, Barossa Valley, yeah, that's it. It was really nice, quite a few years ago there. Any more comments? How does the wife know the pens to buy for the calendar? Many pens to have control over. I will be honest with you. I do. I pick them. And then, I say, I don't look at them when they arrive. I just give them straight to Elaine. And then they get hidden away. Blonde Scales 1, hoards my serendipities. Yeah, the serendipity, as I say, it's such a shame that he stopped making them. I can understand why, but they are nice pens. Barossa Valley, yeah. Some word I can't pronounce, Neuropter. I know one of the things we went to when we were there was a tree that alleges somebody lived in. So I remember going and visiting that. I think that was near the Yolumba winery. Don't I sound like an alcoholic, I tell you. So, any more comments? So, that's all the comments. So, thank you everybody for your time this morning. We've gone a little bit longer than I'd hoped for. Next week, we'll be doing the announcement of the winning pen of Heat 1. So, remember, Heat 1 goes live this afternoon. 2 o'clock Western Australian time. The poll will also open. The poll will run until next Sunday morning. And then on next Sunday's morning live stream, we'll take a look at the poll and announce the winning pen. I say that winning pen goes forward into the semi-final. So thank you all. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Remember, we've got memberships available. If you're able to financially support me, be very much appreciated. Head on over to that membership page, look at the options there. So members get early access to most of my videos. There's a weekly video, which is just for members. And as I say, I'm still asking myself why and what to do, but I'm planning on doing some more members-only content this year. Just working on the details. I'm thinking maybe once a month we might have a members-only live stream. Won't be a Sunday. We'll still do the Sunday ones. Just something I'm toying with in my head and trying to work out the logistics of it. So thank you all for your time, and I'll talk to you again soon.